Dr. Mike here in Puerto Rico, and as you may know, I've been working on a new book called Are You Stuck in Fight or Flight? And oftentimes when I work on new things, the universe sort of comes in and helps me to learn things from a more personal point of view. So it's not just, intellectual knowledge that I'm putting out there. So we had an interesting thing happen as we were traveling here to Puerto Rico. We left from Boston and left, about 8 o'clock at night, arrived in San Juan at about 1 in the morning. And then after that flight, we took a cab, and it's about 2 by the time we got to our Airbnb. And it turned out that our Airbnb was a little hard to find. It was in sort of a, I call it a kind of a shady area of San Juan, where I really wouldn't want to be just walking around by myself. And looks like we're being chased by some wild dogs. It's okay. All right. Yeah. So anyways, we went ahead and had the cabbie drop us off, even though we couldn't find our place because they were hard to find. There were bars in all the windows of the buildings, and there were cars that looked like they had been wrecked on the side. But either way, he dropped us off and he took off. And we did finally find our Airbnb. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and we could not get in the door. So the door key was not there. And after looking at my phone, I realized that I had booked it for the next day. So here we are in a strange place. I started to go a little bit into fight or flight, like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And we're in this city. And so luckily the cabbie had left us his card that had driven us from the airport. And so we called him, and he happened to be right around the corner. He came back, picked us up, brought us back to the airport. So now it's about 3 o'clock in the morning, and we're back at the airport. And we waited till about 5 o'clock and went to get our car, which we had rented. And again, it turned out that I had rented the car on the wrong day. I think next time I'm going to let my Lisa do all of the reservations. So we did not have a car, but luckily we did find a car and drove to our Airbnb, which is now in El Yunque, which is a beautiful rainforest area, and very, very nice. But the interesting part is I woke up the next morning and I felt like there was something in my throat. And I couldn't really spit it out, but it felt like there was something in my throat. I was having a little trouble breathing too, and I couldn't swallow. And I said, Lisa, we really got to go to the ER because I think there's something going on with my throat. So the story continues on here, and I was definitely going into fight or flight, which interestingly is the book that I'm working on and the chapter I'm working on. But I had all the symptoms of fight or flight, which is my heart rate was increased, my blood pressure was up, I was a little shaky, I was dizzy, I was scared. I was afraid that I was going to obstruct in my throat and that there was something lodged in there. So she drives me to the ER here in the city that we're in. And I end up in the ER, and they took a look down there, and they couldn't find anything. Everything looked okay. But as it turns out, my uvula, which is that little thing that hangs down in the back of my throat, was not working well, swollen. And interestingly, the chapter I'm working on right now on my book is the vagus nerve, which starts right at the uvula and controls our swallowing reflex. So I think what was going on here was that I was in fight or flight from the trip, and it caused my uvula to lose its tone, And so it dropped down and was slightly obstructing my airway. So anyways, today I'm feeling much, much better and continuing our adventure here. And so I learned a lot about fight or flight. You know, it's very interesting because most of the things that I've practiced over the years, I've experienced myself. I really have a rule of thumb, which is don't do anything on my patients that I haven't actually experienced myself. I now know what fight or flight in the acute mode feels like. Luckily today, my uvula is doing much better. It has relaxed. I've done some exercises to get my fight or flight response way, way down, getting my vagus to kick in, which is my rest and relax mode. I'm going to include this in my book since I have a first-hand experience, again, of fight or flight in the acute stage. And stay tuned for more info about my book because fight or flight, it's a real thing, and I just experienced it. Bye to all.